All right, hello, ladies and gents. Welcome to another episode of From the Ground Up. Now, we're doing things a little bit different with this episode. Like I've been advertising on Instagram and Facebook and all things of that nature. I now have new equipment. As you can see, we have a microphone now. Got my headphones in. Also have my little adapter piece that I needed. So I'm feeling real like professional right about now. I'm feeling like I didn't came up. I done elevated a little bit. You know what I'm saying? We're doing things a little bit different. I feel like I'm on the radio low key, but so I'm just testing it out right now. So if the quality is not what it's supposed to be, or if it sounds weird, I apologize. I'm still working out the kinks here, but we are going to. I'm probably gonna be doing it like this from here on out, just because I like the look. I like how it feels. And this is a podcast, and I wanted to give it more of a podcast feel. So this is why I'm kind of taking this route. So yeah, just bear with me. We working out the kinks here yet and still. Hopefully y'all can hear me pretty well. Let me adjust this real quick so I can make sure I got that in there because that's important. Gotta have that there. So, all right. So without further ado, let's jump into our topics here. So first subject that I would like to talk about is Stephen Curry. Now I have missed couple of days, couple of games, things of that nature as far as like, we're supposed to be an episode out a lot sooner than right now, but unfortunately due to me waiting on my equipment I had to kind of delay that and push that back. So just now getting this stuff, so I'm catching up on everything, but that doesn't mean I wasn't paying attention to the games and was seeing what was going on. Listen, leave Steph Curry alone. Okay, I'm not the biggest Steph Curry fan in the world. I love to trash talk Warrior fans. It's one of my favorite things to do, but we're not gonna sit in here and act like Stephen Curry is not one of the best shooters in the entire universe. One of the best shooters that the NBA has ever seen. Like, for people to think that he would fall off to the point where he was gonna be like I don't know what people were really thinking. Like, there was a lot of trash talk going on about Stephen Curry and how he was gonna respond and what the Warriors were gonna look like, being that they don't have Clay. Draymond was trying to work his way back. He was going through some injuries, had a couple, nicks here and there. But Steph Curry is Steph Curry. Like, he's a two-time MVP for a reason. That waffle colored Negro is like I said, one of the best shooters I've ever seen in my life. And like I said, I'm not a Steph Curry fan by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm not dumb and I'm not blind. And I mean, I'm a fan of basketball, and listen, leave that man alone. Like, stop playing with him. Please, he's not one of them. Like, please leave that man alone. Like, 62 and 3/4 on a light day. Like, and then the next night follow it up with, I believe it was 39 points within, like, a couple quarters as well. So it's just like, come on now. Like, leave that man alone. Seriously. Like, there's no reason for I really hate, like, this consensus that NBA fans have that if you start the season slow, like as a superstar, then you falling off or father time is caught up, especially if if a player has some years in the league, then they automatically want to assume, okay, you starting slow, you're not the same player, or if the team has like, it's always something. So we get into this mode where we slander players, and then they gotta hit y'all with y'all must have forgot, like Steph Curry did, and now everybody's back on the bandwagon. Like, I never for one thought that Steph Curry fell off. I thought he would have to work himself back. Like, he missed a lot of games last season, and it's one thing to practice and to be in shape, but it's another thing to be in NBA season shape. Like, those are two different shapes, basically. So I never really was concerned with how Steph Curry was looking in the first couple of games. I knew it was going to take him some time to work himself back into what we were used to seeing, but I wasn't like, I didn't have amnesia and was like, oh, he's not the same player anymore, and because Clay, da da da. Like, come on, Steph Curry is Steph Curry. Like, he's a 3-time champion, and like you said, he won 3 of his championships against a man that they consider the greatest player, that I consider the greatest player of all time. So we can't sit here and act like this man isn't a great player. Now, is he one of the GOATs? To be determined as far as a player, but one of the GOATs as far as a shooter, there's no denying that. So yeah, please leave that man alone. Like, they gotta play the Lakers soon. I would like it if y'all would just relax and calm down. I would like him to have his worst game that he possibly can have against my Lakers. There's sarcasm with my Lakers, but also I wanted to point out something as well. Draymond Green's value to not just the Warriors but to the league itself is very undervalued in my opinion. I said that because Draymond doesn't show up on the box sheet. Like, he's not a stat kind of guy. Like, if you're looking for somebody to score 50 points every night and get 20 rebounds and 15 assists, Draymond's not going to do that. That's not what he does. And, you know, I mean, the whole triple single thing is funny. Charles Barkley started that, if you don't know the origin of that. But at the end of the day, his triple single is probably the most important triple single ever known to man as far as in the NBA. Draymond is so important for the Warriors. And as you can see, the difference that he made coming back, at least for Steph, and the way that he was able to play and the shots he was able to get and the way their offense was able to flow. Draymond is one of the smartest basketball players that there is in the league right now. And like I said, it doesn't show up on the box sheet because he's not a guy that's going to go out and get you a bunch of points and a bunch of rebounds and a bunch of assists, but he's going to make the important plays. He's going to make the sacrificial plays. He's going to do all the dirty work. He's going to play defense on the top offensive player on the opposite of the opposing team. Like, he's going to do all of the things that no other superstar wants to do. And you need guys like that in the league. Dennis Rodman is Dennis Rodman because he knew his role and he perfected that role. He was the same way as Draymond. He wasn't really a high scorer like that, but what he needed to provide for the Bulls, he provided, and no one could provide it the way that he could provide it. So he still was a very inaugural point in what the Chicago Bulls were trying to do. And I feel like the same way with Draymond and the Warriors. He's very important and very essential to what they do as far as with the offense, because he can bring the ball up the floor. He can make good passes. He can set screens for Steph. He can guard, like I said, the opposing team's best player. He can get a bucket if he needs to. He's good at the pick and roll. Like, there's things that he does, like I said, that no one else does. And just because it doesn't show up on the stat sheet doesn't mean that it's not important. Basketball is a team sport. It's not just individual. Like, you have to have people on the team that know their specific roles, and they just play those roles, and that's that. And Draymond is one of those guys. And I think that he's very underestimated, and I guess I was kind of a prisoner of the moment as well, because I didn't really realize it until he came back, and until I saw how Steph's game and the way that he looked changed once Draymond came back. So, yeah, we gotta put some more respect on Draymond's name, period. Like I said, I'm not a Warriors fan at all, but I'm not blind. So, you know, just something to think about and something to look at and look into. What else I wanted to talk about here? Dame Dollar. This pains me to say this. This pains me to do this. Because I'm a Dame fan. Like, I like Dame. I love watching Dame play. But we got to be honest about Dame. Dame, he reminds me of, like, I love Dame how I love Allen Iverson. And I love Allen Iverson in the sense of entertainment. He's entertaining. He has heart. You can never question his heart. You can never question his effort. You can never question his skill set. But he's not a winner. Allen Iverson wasn't a winner. I love AI. Love AI. I mean, love AI. Like, I had braids like him. Like, I made myself look like a whole, I'm not even going to say what I'm going to say because it's irrelevant to the point. But loved Allen Iverson. But if we're being honest, AI wasn't a winner. He wasn't a difference maker. He wasn't he could win you games. He could definitely win you games. But when you are trying to be in the elite class of the Kobe's, the Jordans, the LeBrons, you got to win championships. And AI never won a championship. That doesn't take away from his greatness. That doesn't say that he's not a Hall of Famer. He's absolutely all of those things. But he's not a winner. And I feel like Dame is starting to fall into that same kind of credence. It's like, he's a great player, very talented, has a lot of heart, not a winner. I mean, you know, it's the same script with Portland every single year. Him and CJ are very impressive together. I like them as a tandem. I would rather see them together than apart. But at some point, you got to be honest. They're not a threat to any of the top teams in the West. Can they make things interesting? Sure. Can they, you know, cause some commotion in the West? Absolutely. Can they make some noise? For sure. They do that every year. That's a given. But are they winners? Are they champions? The answer is no. And I mean, like I said, it pains me to say that because I'm a Dame fan. I love Dame. But if I'm being honest, Dame's not. I mean, there was an article that said that Dame was a better point guard than Steph. That's false. I'm sorry. I never entertained that. I don't understand why that was even a conversation. Steph and Dame are on two totally different spectrums. And that's not even trying to be disrespectful to Dame, but let's keep it 100. Steph is a 3-time champion for a reason. A 2-time MVP for a reason. Steph is a difference maker for the Warriors. Dame is a highlight reel. And that's what it is. It's a very entertaining highlight reel, but it's a highlight reel nonetheless. So, I mean, like I said, I hate to say it, but we have to start categorizing these players in their proper categories. There's a difference between being really great and really good, or great and really great, or really great and Hall of Fame. Like there's so many different ways that you can put that. So unfortunately, to me, Dame falls under very good. He's not great to me. He's not elite. And I mean, if that's just my personal opinion, like I said, it pains me to say it as much as I love watching Dame play, but facts are facts. Couple of things. I wanted to talk about the Lakers, but I don't really feel like I need to talk about the Lakers. I mean, they're rolling right now, so they're probably second or third. I believe second in the West right now, right behind the Clippers, like a game and a half. Well, like a half game back, because the Clippers have the tiebreaker or whatever, however that works. So there's that. The Nets. We gotta have an honest conversation about the Nets. The Nets are under 500 at the particular moment. I feel like it's too early in the season to really determine what their fate is going to be. However, they do have some very big problems that they need to address. With that being said, one of them being defense, because for an opposing team to play against the Nets, if you run enough pick and roll sets on whatever side DeAndre Jordan is on, the opposing team is going to eat, because DeAndre Jordan is not a shell of himself. He's not the same defender he once was. He never really was a great defender, but he was a lot better than what he is now, which is, I know, is probably not saying much. But he's food. He's barbecue chicken. Ribs falling off the bone. Like, anytime a point guard sets a pick and roll for their big or for their star player, and forward or their guard or whatever the situation is, depending on the team, their eyes light up, because they already know he's either going to foul, or that person, whoever he's guarding, the person is going to be able to get around him. He can't guard a parked car. He can't guard a tree. He can't guard anything at this particular point. And Kyrie's never been an elite defender, so there's that. And KD ain't going to be able to do it by himself, because all you got to do is run a pick and roll or run a switch to get him off of whatever the best offensive player is for the opposing team. And you got buckets, and then you got a different problem. So I don't want to jump the gun too early and say that there's cause for concern, but at the same time, there's things that they need to correct now. Better late than never, as far as with that. Because if they don't, then they'll probably get out the first round, but that second and third round, or at least that Eastern Conference Finals, like if they have to go against a Boston or a Miami or even a Milwaukee or the Sixers, that's going to be a problem for them. So they're going to have to figure that out. But also they're going to have to play together more as a unit. A lot of their star players have been missing a lot of games, which is kind of what hindered the Clippers last year. They didn't have any chemistry, so they need to work on that as well. And I mean, I know you can't really do anything about injuries, but they're going to have to get some more repetition together in order for that thing to work. But they got to see if they can figure out a way to trade DeAndre Jordan, because he is going to be their Achilles heel when it comes to getting deep into the playoffs, or even getting to the finals. If let's say they do get into the finals, whatever team comes out the West, they're going to have trouble with, being that they have DeAndre Jordan on their side. So they gotta figure that out. That's going to be a problem for them. And last but not least, this pains me to say this as well. because I also love this particular individual as a player and as a person. Russ. I love Russ. I want to make sure that I indicate how much I really love and respect Russell Westbrook. However, he might be washed now. And like I said, I hate to say that, but you know how you see somebody with really great potential, like they have just out of this world potential. They could be anything they want to in this world. But you can kind of see that they're never going to maximize that full potential because they're going to get in their own way. They're going to shoot themselves in the foot. Russell Westbrook is the equivalent of that. He has all the potential in the world to be... I'm going to turn the TV off behind me because there's no point in playing that anymore. He has all the potential in the world to be one of the greats, to be a champion. I mean, heart, passion, drive, skill set, but he's stubborn and he refuses to evolve his game. He's kind of right in there with James Harden. They're both pretty much the same player, which is why they didn't work in Houston. He just refuses to do anything other than what he's always done, and what he's yet to realize is that that's not a recipe for success. KD left because he knew he couldn't win with Russ, because Russ is going to do Russ. Russ is going to do what's best for Russ. Like, he doesn't care about anything or anybody else. If it makes sense to Russ, if it's okay to Russ, he's going to do that. And what's best for Russ isn't always what's best for the team. Which is why he's kind of like Dame in the sense of great player, highlight reel, passion, love to watch him play, not a champion, not a winner. And I hate to say it because I wanted so bad for Russ to win, especially when KD left. I was just like, if he can pull that off, there's nothing that anybody can say to Russ. But he proved KD right. Because, I mean, even in that first season when he didn't have KD, he got the triple-double. He was doing this thing. He didn't really have a star player to assist him or somebody that was on his level that he could trust to bear some of the load with him. So I got him being, selfish in that regard. But once he did get players that could help, it was the same routine. Russ only trusts Russ, and that's an issue when you're playing a team sport. If he was playing golf, if he was playing tennis, perfect, because that's the mindset you have to have in that kind of sport, because it's an individual sport. You don't have to rely on anybody else but yourself. In basketball, especially when you are a point guard, everything flows through you. And a lot of responsibility of what a point guard's job is to make decisions. Russ is not a good decision maker. He's never been a good decision maker. And he's not a great shooter. So you mesh those two things together, that's a recipe for disaster. No matter how fast, no how strong, how passionate, how hard you play, it's a recipe for disaster. Which is why Russ is in the position that he's in now. He can't blame anybody but Russ. The Wizards have a potential to be a better team. They have Russ, they have Bradley Beal, a couple other pieces. I can't remember the names of the players right now. But they have potential to be better than what they are. But the problem is, which is the problem has been everywhere that Russ has went, trust. And this it's too late in the game for him to fix it. I mean, he's 30 now. And I'm 29, so I once you reach a certain point in your life past 25, you pretty much are who you are. I mean, you obviously can evolve, you can change, but that's a decision that you have to make and a conscious effort that you have to make. But you pretty much are what you are at that point. Russ is who he is. He's never been anything different. He's never going to be anything different. So I hate to say it, but we're never going to see the same Russ again. And even if we do, it's let's keep it real. What is he outside of highlights? and triple doubles. Nothing. So, I mean, that's just, again, personal opinion. And there's plenty of season left for both of those guys to prove me wrong. But at this particular point, that's how I feel and that's how I see it. But that is going to wrap up the video portion of the podcast. I do want to make a couple little brief announcements here and let you guys know some things. I do have a SoundCloud page. Now, it is sensei_33, which is my Instagram name. So if you follow me on Instagram, it's the same thing. I will be posting a audio version of the podcast, which on that particular part of the podcast, I will be talking about different topics. Still sports related, still basketball related, because that's my thing. But it'll be different topics. So that'll be out as well at the same time that this comes out. So make sure you check out both. Also, I am on YouTube. I am still uploading some of the older episodes on YouTube, but a lot of the newer ones that I've just previously released are there. My YouTube channel, I do have a YouTube channel, which is From the Ground Up. Make sure you subscribe to that. When you look for the Ground Up on YouTube, you may have to type in basketball for it to come up, just because I've noticed when I searched it myself, when you type it From the Ground Up, it doesn't really come up. So when you type it in, just make sure that you add basketball as well. And then when you see it, click on it, obviously subscribe, watch the video, check it out. Trying to get views up on that. What else was there? I'm trying to get this podcast as well on Apple Music and Spotify. I'm still working on how to figure out how to do that particular part of it. It's a lot complicated than I thought. But working at that. Also shirts too, but that'll probably be another month or so before that happens, just because I'm doing it a lot different actually this time than I did it before. So the shirts will be a lot cheaper. I will be getting for a profit this particular time. Amen to that. But I got a couple things that I have to get in order for me to make that happen, because I will be designing and making the shirts myself. So it's going to be a little bit different. But that is all the announcements and things that I have for that. Make sure you tune in. Got a lot of cool stuff coming up for this season. Also, anybody that's got a podcast or anything, or that loves sports, basketball, whatever the case may be, you want to be on the show, please hit me up. Do not hesitate. Now that I have all this equipment and stuff, I'm able to do podcasts with other people as well without us being in the same room, because obviously coronavirus, COVID, all that stuff is going on. So, we can't sit down and chop it up like we normally would be able to, but there's other ways to get around that. So, like I said, if you are interested in being on the show, do not hesitate. Hit me up and let me know. And that's all I got for this, man. This episode is a little bit longer than the other ones, but still support, still watch. Let me know what you think. Comments, concerns, opinions, and all that things. All those things are always welcomed. Thank you for everybody that's been watching and been tuning in. I appreciate y'all. We out.